everybody, and welcome back to the Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I've got my co-host.
Paulie Presenza, otherwise known as the Moo Cow Moo.
All right, and we've got a special guest here, somebody who's never been on the show before, but is always welcome now from now on. Please welcome and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Matt Anderson. I am the owner of Key 13 Films, a small production company based out of Frederick, Maryland.
Awesome. Well, we're very happy to have you, Matt. He's a filmmaker. And Maryland. Wow, what interesting segue for that, because the film that we're doing, which I did not think anything of, I did not plan this because that's where that's where you live or whatever. But we're doing a movie called Redneck Zombies. And I remember when I first told Paul I was going to do this, Paul was like, "But you don't like rednecks and you don't like zombies. Like what?" But what he always does know I like is zombies, movies that are at least try to have some comedy in them instead of being like just a bunch of rednecks, whatever. At least it tries to be funny and tries to have, that stuff. I like that kind of stuff. I do not like movies that take themselves so seriously and then you're like, okay, how can the zombie catch that person? It feels more like to me like Return of the Living Dead type thing than like Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead. It's kind of seems more like a parody, but we'll be discussing that after we listen to some mood music. And we are back. All right. So we're here to discuss Redneck Zombies, a film directed by Pericles Lunis. I think that's how you say his name. It's been a while. I interviewed him years ago, and I cannot tell you I have not spoken to him in forever. I think I'm still Facebook friends with him. But I speak more with the producer, Ed Bishop, than I do with him. And Ed was the one wondering, when am I going to do Redneck Zombies? And that's when I started thinking, oh crap, we haven't done that yet, have we?
Well, it's a Trauma release, and we've been doing Trauma movies, but it had been a while, so this was about time, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the last Trauma one we did was Sergeant Kabuki Man, if I'm correct. So, and that was with Jessa. I don't know if you know Jessa Flux, Matt, but she's a great actress, and she comes on the show every now and then and promotes herself and does this podcast with us. So we really appreciate her.
And heartily endorsed by Uncle Lloyd.
Yep.
Yep.
We love
Yeah,
Uncle Lloyd.
actually, I do know Jessa. I'm actually was talking with her earlier today. She actually auditioned for one of my films. Did not get the role that time, but something tells me that it's just a matter of when, not if.
Right.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun. She's very talented, and I like to think that her cow bikini has something to do with me.
Yeah, he's a cow guy. He loves cows. If you couldn't tell already, but the mooing and stuff. Paul's a cow guy. But but yeah, so she's a sweetheart. We love her, and but the last one we did was Sergeant Kabuki Man, so it was about time we did another movie. Distributed by Troma, not produced by Troma. And interestingly enough, so if you watch the beginning, did you guys both watch it on Tubi?
Yeah.
Okay, did you watch it on Tubi? So in the beginning of it says Full Moon Pictures presents.
I know.
Well, interesting. So I contacted Ed about that, the producer, because he was asking me if I had any questions that, while I was watching it. And I said, so did Full Moon put it out and stuff? Interestingly enough, that was their original production company name, Full Moon Pictures. And then another company came around called Full Moon Features, came around the same time, and they started making their stuff. And they actually thought about, suing them possibly because, they had the name first. And then they said, no, we love Puppet Master and all the other stuff that they're doing. Let's change the title. Let's change the name. And stuff. And then
it did wig me out because I did not see one tiny even speck of Charles Band in this film.
Not at all. Not at all.
No, it was not a this was not yeah, so I said, so big question. I saw at the beginning of the Troma logo, and I always knew this was as a Troma movie. On Tubi it says Troma and then it says Full Moon Pictures Presents. It said Full Moon Pictures was the name of our production company when we made Redneck Zombies. We changed after Charles Band started Full Moon Features to avoid confusion and a costly lawsuit. So I guess they weren't planning to sue. They were planning to, right? It's like, I'm not sure if some versions leave out our full moon animation. I was like, it didn't have an animation. I don't remember that in the beginning, but it did say full moon pictures. I was like, well, that's interesting. It doesn't matter as long as the whole movie's in there, so he didn't, but yeah, I was like, that's interesting because I thought full moon pictures, I thought they might have bought it from Troma or
And
something
I
to distribute it.
certainly did not remember that from years ago when I first saw this, when I rented it from a VHS store, a mom and pop VHS store years and years ago.
Yeah. So, okay, so Matt, was this your first time seeing this film?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So, let me get a hint of everything. Were you a fan of this movie or not?
I had never heard of it until you guys mentioned that that's what you guys were going to cover on the show. So didn't even know of its existence until a few days ago.
But did you like it? Or was it not your cup of tea?
That fucking movie. Yeah.
Let it rip.
No, no, no. I absolutely loathed it.
Oh, wow.
It
This
is
is a new
not.
John Ward for us. Like this is what John Ward would say. Well, go
It,
ahead, keep going.
it is not the worst film I have ever seen, but it is definitely one of the worst films I have ever seen. It is just I had to watch it in chunks because I got so irritated with everything going on that I couldn't keep going. Um, I mean, I can give you a breakdown of everything, but I don't know if we have enough time. I mean, the big things for me, I get what they were trying to do. I get the amount of comedy they were trying to hit us with. But the 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 gay stereotyping was just awful.
Kind of
Um,
not cool for this time period. Like
It's
nobody
very
would
much
no,
a movie of its time.
right.
very much,
Has
very
not
much.
aged well.
No, it has not at all. The overuse of the video toaster effects was absolutely mind-blowing. Um, the acting is absolutely atrocious. I hate every single character in the movie. I hate all of them. Our hero or our heroine, the girl that survives. I
I was
still
surprised she
hate
was
her.
I was surprised she was the one that survived of all the people. Like, I mean, I guess you're gonna go with you have to have a woman survive, right? That was the
Final girl.
cliche kind of thing. So
Final
you had a
girl.
scream queen, yeah, final girl, scream queen kind of thing. But she just, I don't know, like, yeah, I can see that being a thing. I didn't want the pig to die. I like the pig, in the movie. Like, he was
Uh,
my favorite part. You know.
the fucking pig. Uh, yeah,
Turkey.
yeah. First of all, uh, the woman, the mom with the pig, ah, um, undescribable at the awfulness. But really, for me, the most awful actor in the whole movie was, and I don't even remember his name. it was the guy that took the hit of acid,
Oh,
and they
Bob,
asked
was
him
it Bob or something?
Bob, or I don't know, but the guy who took the hit of acid and was asked to dissect the zombie and figured out that, yeah, I'm sorry, spoiler, folks.
Oh yeah, we'll
Um,
get into that. Oh, it's okay. We'll get
uh,
into all of that. So
okay, but anyways, he started off okay, and then he just got progressively worse.
that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking. Like he was great at the beginning, like I had no
right.
problem. And then toward the end when he had the acid trip, I was like, that is like the weirdest acting I've ever seen like somebody do. Like it was not that good. No. It
No, no, and I mean, just it was a bunch. Also, some of the scenes that were really just kind of non sequiturs, like LMA picking up the guy with who had the shaving fetish, and
yeah.
just
And the
just
guy's name being Ella May, like what? Like
oh
I didn't
well,
get any of
that
that.
right there. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Uh-huh.
I mean the I mean that I mean I have to give this movie credit for insulting gay people, transgender people, uh women, men, children, pigs. I mean, I can't believe, again, I get what they were trying to do. I understand the gross out humor and the guy that you have on your picture there, Jonathan,
Hmm.
the wanted to fuck the corpse and went from being kind of sleazy straight to sleazy gay, then back again,
Yeah.
and just I was floored uh
Okay.
at the awfulness.
Well, Paul, did you have the same feelings to this movie?
That was my original feeling, if not worse. I hated this movie the first time I saw it. It took several tries before I could even finish it because I couldn't stand to be around those characters for even 5 seconds.
So were
I
you
just,
worried when I said we're doing this? Were you like, oh
I,
man, I have to watch this
it
again?
had been, I mean, I hadn't seen it since I watched it, like I said, out of the VHS from, must have been the early 90s. So I was like, all right, maybe things have changed. Because we had this discussion. Sometimes you see a movie, you feel very, very
House
strong
Shark.
one way or the other. And then 30 years or so passes, and then you see it again. Maybe things will get better. I will say, I didn't hate it quite as much. I still hated it. And, a little bit more of the humor hit this time as opposed to the first time when I saw this, when it's just awful. Um, but yeah, it's mainly the characters. They are so incredibly broad that I mean, it's a cartoon. And I always say when you're doing a parody or you're doing something funny, you want it to be at least grounded in some kind of reality, because otherwise you're just watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon. And I don't want to watch a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I want to watch a movie. And something like this, unless you're very skilled at it, like say the folks who did Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter is a great example. They were able to do this with skill. These guys, they just didn't really have the chutzpah for it or the budget for it, really. This guy, I think this director comes from a special effects background, so I think that's kind of why he was doing the film, because he could make all that sort of bubbling, gross, disgusting kind of FX. And I was a little bit more impressed with the FX this time around because I noticed it more, whereas before I just kind of written it off as just cheap shit. But I can see that there was a little bit more to it, and I always like practical special effects over CGI anyway. So I have a little bit more respect for the FX that went behind in this and some of the production values that went behind in this. But as far as the characters go, as far as the acting goes,
Yeah.
oh, hated it. Hated the zombies, hated the rednecks, hated them all.
All right. So let's do a little background. So Pericles Loons, who's the director, yes, you're right. He did do a lot of special effects. He did special effects for Chroma's War, which we haven't done yet, which we will.
We
Toxic
will.
Avenger Part 2, Part 3, Death by Temptation, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD. Um, so he did the special effects for Axum. Oh
Nice,
my
nice, nice,
God,
nice.
Ah,
We're
that is
doing that.
amazing. We're doing that
oh,
this season.
oh,
Uh,
Axum is, oh,
I've
good
been threatening
God.
him with Axum for years, and
well, and
now he's
now I
finally
have to
said,
do it.
"I'm going to do it."
Yep, I'm gonna do it.
Oh no. Oh no. I used to do a show and we did Axum for an episode and but I will say this, I rated higher than Redneck Zombies.
All right.
Nice, nice,
So,
nice.
yeah, but he's done a few other movies, Shattered Dead. He did a movie himself called Loop that I own. Not many people have that film. It's
Hmm.
out of print. One time somebody actually offered me money for it and I turned them down. And it wasn't a lot of money, but I was like, I'm not selling something that's out of print. I'm not going to be able to find it again, or whatever and stuff. And I could have probably made a copy of it, but whatever. Anyway, I didn't end up selling it. I still have it, and we are going to be doing that. It's much better than this. It is more serious. And if you're looking for like something like Redneck Zombies, you wouldn't find it in a loop, but it's a loop movie, one of those movies where it's a giant loop kind of thing. So, the writers of this film, I believe they
The
have
Redneck Irreversible, huh?
I think they had what is it? Basically took their name off of this movie or something, the writers.
Not surprised.
Good
So
reason.
Alan Smithy.
there's a guy named Zoofeet. I'm pretty sure that's not a real name. Another guy named P. Floyd Piranha, and Fester Smellman.
Oh, I mean, if you can't even come up with creative bullshit names, yeah, you definitely should be removing any trace of your existence off of something like that. I mean, I've made some bad shit in my filmmaking career. I still own that shit.
Yep.
I'm not ashamed to
You
say
kind of
I
have
did it.
to.
Yeah,
Everybody kind of starts at the bottom before they work their way up. I keep telling people that. You're
yeah,
not going to start off as Stanley Kubrick. It just doesn't work like
Or
that.
Quentin Tarantino,
You start off making shit, but that's how you learn. That's exactly how you learn.
Mhm.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, so those are writers. As I said, my friend Ed Bishop produced this film. So did William E. Benson, Pericles produced as well, and George Scott. So that's the background on the now I would say background on the cast, but I don't think any of the cast actually went on. I mean, they were all just friends and neighbors. This
Yeah.
is like the pure definition of a backyard movie, made in the backyards, with their friends, and family and stuff. Um and so one of the talking points I want to say is it's one of the birth of the backyard legend, by the way. This is shot on VHS and proudly low budget. Redneck Zombies is one of the earliest shot on video horror flicks to be distributed nationally, thanks to Troma. So it feels like a home movie made by horror loving hillbillies. Um
Yeah, this was at every Mon Pa store. This and like Microwave Massacre and Three on a Meat Hook. Those kind of movies would be at every single little Mon Pa VHS store on the planet, it seemed. And so
exactly.
whenever you wanted to watch it, you could just walk into any one of them and you'd find it. Now, I don't know about, some of the higher end corporate the ones that were out there, but the Mon Pa's definitely had it.
Yeah, I don't know if Blockbuster would have carried this movie or not.
Probably
I
not.
probably not, would be my guess.
No, no, this is definitely a mom and pop. A lot of the movies that I've seen like this, I actually have Brentwood Video for the longest time was the best place to get copies of these shot on video films.
Hmm.
I reviewed quite a few of them on an old show that I used to do.
What was that
Um,
old show called? You said it earlier.
it was called Terribly Awful.
Nice.
Unfortunately, most of the episodes are gone. The person who
Oh,
created the show was originally with Key 13, and it was a Key 13 film show. But when he moved on, he took the show with him. So there's only just a few episodes available on our Extreme Genre Kino Facebook page. Unfortunately, most of the episodes have been scrubbed off of YouTube, but we reviewed a lot of them. We did one called The Vulture's Eye, and it was filmed in Virginia near
Huh.
Nice.
Percival.
Never
Near,
heard of
Uh,
it.
near where?
Percival, Virginia. And they even guerrilla filmed some scenes at Dulles. Uh,
Nice.
Nice.
and so, I know this movie was made, roughly around the Maryland area. And so certainly I have respect for, this is 87. These guys, basically go out and use this videotape and they try to make a movie. And I agree with Paul on the special effects. That is the only real redeeming part about this movie is that I mean some of them are bleh, yeah, but most of them, I mean, considering the time, a lot of those video effects, the special effects, the practical effects are really impressive. So I
Mm.
will definitely, I definitely give them props for being one of the first out the gate. I give them props for the level of the practical effects. I am a practical effects guy. Very few of I mean, we do have some digital effects in a couple of my films, but for the most part, we try to go straight up physical because I like it. Plus, it's a lot easier to do physical
Yeah.
effects in some ways. Um, so I have that respect for this film, but everything else about it, I absolutely despise.
Yeah,
Uh,
it reminded me a lot of some of the like the early Polonia Brothers stuff, and then
Yes,
early Todd Sheets. Those are the
Splatter
right.
Farm, and yeah, I mean, and I absolutely hated Splatter Farm too, and I know that me admitting that publicly, it's like saying that I thought Phantasm sucked.
yeah.
People are going
Dude,
to
I think they
probably,
both suck.
yeah, people are going to come at me with pitchforks and burn me in effigy, and I
I'm the
probably have
same,
just
man.
lost like a whole bunch of people buying my next film. But
I don't think so because I
oh,
think
yeah.
here's what I love about especially the indie film community is we all have different tastes. We all like what we like. I
Mhm.
like the Polonia Brothers movies. I haven't seen Splatter Farm. If I watch it, but
It's on the list.
we did review Rotten Tail,
Peter
which was
Rottentail.
Peter
Ugh.
Rotten Tail or whatever
I
uh,
hated it.
that Polonia did back in the day, and Paul hated it, but me and Madeline Deering were like, we loved it because
Madeline Deering loves everything.
I know
Yeah,
she does.
yeah, yeah. Her and Matt Skinner, they are the two of them. I mean, and I've actually worked with Madeline on a one of my films. I produced, Heavy Duty Man. That's how I met Madeline. And when I saw Spirit Animal, and in fact, it's a modern film done exactly in this style. Uh, she nailed it perfectly. Uh,
Nice.
Yeah, I love Spirit
I need
Animal.
to
It's really
see it. I
good.
haven't seen it.
it feels like one of these shot on video movies. I mean, down to the finest detail and the hammy acting and all that stuff. I mean, it's brilliant. Because she took something that most people would never do today and actually managed to capture that spirit.
Right.
So yeah, so it's you know, yeah, she and Matt Skinner, they like everything, and I mean, hey, there's movies I love that people just can't stand,
Right.
and I'm okay with that. I am okay with that, and you are right. The indie film community, we all have our loves and dislikes. We have our Jason fans, we have our Freddy fans, we have our Michael fans.
And then
We
we have people like Paul who hates all of them.
Right, yeah.
Like that's
Matt, it sounds like you're one of us. You need to start coming back on the show.
yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
And by the way,
okay.
just real quick before you get on, I actually watched Return to Splatter Farm.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
which they did a sequel many, many years later. Mel Heflin, who is an actress that I worked with on a different film
We
and
love
have kept
Mel.
in touch with off and on over the last since I pretty much got into the movie biz. So I watched it because she was in it,
Mhm.
and so that's definitely one you guys should definitely check out.
Oh, so it's better than Splatter Farm, right? Like the sequel's better.
I think it is certainly. Splatter Farm was when they first started, and Return to Splatter Farm many, many years later. So you can see how what a difference years make in doing experience and all that. Plus, getting actors who actually can act.
Right.
Uh, so they are they're the same feeling, very different films. So I highly recommend that you watch both. I still hate the first one. I will always hate it. The second one, I did not hate. I wasn't, it's not my cup of tea. It was one of those things. I'll watch it once. I'm good. I don't need to watch it again. I watched it mostly because Mel was in it. Um, but I did not feel as dirty as I did watching Redneck Zombies.
That happened.
Nice.
So like, and that was the thing that we talked about for that Rotten Tail, the Peter Rottentail movie, is that what Madeline and I loved is the shot on video aspect, but the backyard aspect. And this movie has that too, where it's you could tell it's people's backyards, it's people's friends, like they're all having fun. All the actors are just friends and family. They're not, they did not hold auditions, I'm sure. They just said, "Hey, do you want to be in a movie?" And they went out and made a movie.
But at
So
least this one doesn't have the constant boing, 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 boing,
that was the thing
boing.
that annoyed Paul to wanting. He thought we were going to give it a 30, like he just thought everybody was going to say 10. We should not have picked Madeline. Maybe you would have gotten a different score.
I gave
But
these guys Chud 2, Bud the Chud, and they loved it.
no, no, no,
It's
no,
a
no, that's
terrible
not
freaking
true.
movie.
I loved it, and Jeremy Morehouse did not love it. So he's one of you guys too. Like you and Matt, you guys would all get along. I mean, maybe y'all should start like do your own videos and stuff and exclude
These
us. Then you guys know.
millennials.
Yeah. But anyway, I did enjoy watching stuff that makes me go like inspires me. Like to me this stuff kind of gets me excited because then I'm like I want to go out and make stuff. And then I realize
But you
then
won't do it. I keep
I know. And
talking to
then
you to do stuff like
I know.
this.
And then I say I can't do this because I can't be this bad. I can't do that. I can't. I will kill myself if I have to put this
Well,
out.
the thing
Like
is, like I said, you can do it and make it work. You just have to be skillful at it. And it all comes down to the script. You have to have a really, really good script with good, well thought out, well three-dimensional characters. And you can do this. I told you. Yeah, what did I say? The Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. And then what's the other one we haven't done yet that I love? The one that where there's the outer space and they come down and they're making fun of the old 50s kind of sci-fi films. Gosh, I
uh,
remember Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
yeah, we haven't done that yet. I'm
We haven't done
surprised.
that yet. I'm just saving that for someone who hasn't seen it. But you can do those kinds of parodies well and skillfully, and they work. This was more like a shotgun against the wall, whatever sticks kind of method.
Yeah.
Yeah, it that is absolutely right, Paul, is and as a screenwriter, I try to be that living embodiment that every character, even in a movie like that I've written called Sexy Sorority Sisters of Death, even though it is a throwback to the Satanist movies of the 70s,
Nice.
uh, it's still the characters have some depth to them. And, you may not necessarily see all, we don't do exposition on explaining why they do it, but you can kind of get a sense of who a person is and what the dimensions are. You can do that without having to sit there and info dump, a whole bunch of ridiculous dialogue. And that's, I think, why part of the reason why some independent films, I appreciate, again, I appreciate the backyard spirit, but if you don't have good characters for the actors, even if they're half-ass actors, if you don't have something for them to really build into it. I mean, if you look in the movie, Ella May is the only one who actually had any depth, and that was still incredibly superficial, but at least there was a reason that this guy is walking around
Exactly.
like he is.
Reason,
Yeah,
motivation. The
right.
characters are doing things because of a reason, because of motivation, not just because the script demands they be there. That's all I ask.
Yeah, and so Jonathan, if you want to make these kind of movies, man, it's you do it, just do it. I
Well,
mean, that's what I did. I wound up working on a movie that, while I'm not a fan of how it turned out, I very much loved being on the set and working on it. And same thing with every movie that I've ever worked on, whether I love it or I don't. I'm still proud I did it.
right,
And still proud of everybody who came together and did it, whether they got paid or not, whether they do it volunteer, whether they're friends, they all know each other. I still enjoyed that. But now that I'm making my own, there's a standard that I have to get. So I get what you're saying there, Jonathan, is that, you want to do it, but you don't want to do it that
yep.
terrible. Well,
Well,
take your time and do it the way that you feel works best. And you know what? If the characters are not quite in depth, it's okay. Just do it, learn from that mistake. That's what the best thing that I ever did is every single film I worked on, whether it's my own or somebody else's, I learned what to do and what not to do and got better. And I at least I hope I'm getting better for every film that I do, from now on.
right,
So, again, I I do applaud the backyard spirit, and hell, I did a faux French film in my backyard one
oh,
time.
French
Nice.
film, nice.
Yeah.
I
So,
Well, I just want to say we have a company that we have a side company that we want to utilize at some point called Dumpster Fire Films. And so that would be where that would go. It's just a matter of like making time to just shoot something like that, because it'll take time out of doing other things, that we want to do as well. So it's just a matter of doing it, but like
Well,
also
plus
making
the
sure it's not like
movies that he wants to do is going to generate a lot more income than these little crappy, silly, ridiculous films that are more fun. They're more fun, but they're not going to make you a lot of money. So that's the
right.
thing.
That's the
well,
thing. And go ahead.
yeah, sorry. If you go into this expecting to make high dollar value, high dollar money, lots of money, you're going in for the completely wrong reason. I got into it because I had story, I wanted to learn and then I had stories to tell. And so I got to tell those stories.
Mm.
Have I made money on my films? Well, one of them I've made money on, but and that one I just produced. So, I was not, I was involved in it, but I wasn't like the lead, the guy driving the project. It was George A. Romero's Resident Evil
Oh,
documentary.
nice.
Nice.
So we've done well on that one. I hope to do well on the other films that we're working on getting distribution for. So I'm not in this to make money, although I'd like to make a dollar and a cent. Uh,
Right. Who wouldn't?
Certainly,
You
who
know.
wouldn't?
Yeah.
But I do it for the love, and hopefully that love will translate into being able to afford to produce my next film and so on and so forth. So,
But the thing is, for indie folks out there, when you fix the movie is at the beginning with the script because that's where
yes,
it's cheap. That's where
yes,
you fix it. You don't fix it in post or later on because that's where you're spending your money. Okay, fix it by having a good script, the best script you have before you do anything.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like what Robert Rodriguez shot El Mariachi for $7,000, or whatever. And wait, am I okay? All right, I'm making sure. I thought for a second it messed up. The thing messed up, but no. So yeah, $7,000 in Mexico made a movie, and ended up becoming, selling it for like lots of money, and
yeah.
good,
El
later on.
Mariachi.
Yeah, El Mariachi, yeah, wonderful
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
and it
I'm sorry.
happens.
Yeah. No, it lightning only has to strike once. And if you do well with one, then maybe you'll do well with the next one. Maybe not.
Mm.
But finding the time to do it. I mean, I'm lucky. My kids are grown. My daughter is married. My son, he does his own thing. He writes books. So
Nice.
I have the ability to be able to go and make movies, and things like that. So I totally understand the time crunch. Especially if you have a very busy, active life. Me, most of my free time is movie stuff. So,
Nice.
uh,
Yeah, still
Nice.
good though.
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's Matt, can you tell us what the story is on this movie?
On which movie?
On Redneck Zombies, the one we're reviewing
Oh,
here.
yes. Uh, um, okay. So, you guys remember Bizarro World in Superman? This is kind of where we're at now. All right.
Dementia 5 with Spider-Man.
Yeah. So in the backwoods of Maryland, and by the way, I just have to say, if you have to have a 1 minute or 1 minute and a half long rolling credits to explain the set up the plot, you're already in trouble from the get-go. But anyways, after a very long plot setup, this guy who inexplicably is driving around with one barrel of toxic waste,
Corporal Nitwit.
Corporal Nitwit, barely strapped into this Jeep that, this old Jeep. The barrel falls out, is found by uh, some moonshiners who don't know how to read because nobody in this movie knows how to read, apparently. And they take the barrel and turn it into a still because the fat guy blew up the last or shot up the last one. So they turn it into a still, and somehow in one day or just a few hours, they managed to make moonshine. That's impossible. Um, so anyway, so they make moonshine, and so LMA, this guy with gender identity issues, um, goes out and delivers the stuff while the rest of them go get drunk, and then it just snowballs into a bunch of other people. Meanwhile, at the same time, there is a bunch of people. I don't know if they're college or friends or assholes or
They didn't even seem to know each other. Like it
no.
seemed
Yeah, I don't
weird.
think it mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a bunch of people camping out in the woods, and there's the sleazy guy, there's the bitchy girl, there's the other two who don't even have enough personality to waste time on. The guy who keeps changing his shirt every 5 fucking minutes. Anyway, so they're out there and they run afoul of the now zombified rednecks, and then the rest of the movie, which goes on for about 45 minutes longer than it needed to. The people that are out there try to survive what's going on. Oh, and then there's a twist ending, which I will not spoil because if I had to suffer to watch this movie, every single person out there needs to do it
Damn
too.
straight.
So I'm not going to tell you what happens, but believe me, you'll feel dirty after
M.
it.
Night Shyamalan himself would have been jealous of that twist ending.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, oi.
Well, there you go. That pretty much sums it up. I mean, there were other characters, as we said.
Mm,
There was the mom who had the pig, and I swear that was the cutest little pig, though. Like I wanted that pig. Especially when he went rah, like freaked out or whatever randomly. I was just like, that is so adorable.
yeah, it
You
was
know,
just, a lot more rednecky and a lot more splatter.
yeah. But I
I,
mean, it didn't bother me. The redneck stuff was kind of funny to me. I don't.
But the thing is that not even the zombie stuff was really even tried. They weren't even trying to be frightening because this is one of those things where the zombies are clearly not actually ingesting anything. They're just like chewing up stuff and it just falls out of their mouth. And then they run over to grab some stuff and then they just drop it. I'm like, zombies are like supposed to be eating people. None of them actually eat anybody. They're just
Yeah.
wasting it. Why are you wasting your food?
Well, are you saying that you'd be like if you could have been there being their zombie teacher, you would have told them to dum dum dum
I'd
and
want to see
everything?
one of these movies where at least one of them just catches somebody and just sits there and eats them, and it takes a while because that's what they're doing. That's why they're zombies because they need to eat people.
Right.
the best people eating scene I have ever seen is in a movie called DEF CON 4.
Oh,
And
DEFCON 4, yeah.
yeah, there's a scene when Captain Walker has been pulled out by the terminals or whatever they're called, and you actually see them. So you see the body, the legs connected to the stomach area, and they're cutting through it like they're cutting through a roast.
Oh wow.
And you're sitting there and you're like, that is the most realistic person eating scene I have ever seen in any
There you
movie.
go. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, even, in the original, Night of the Living Dead, that they were kind of just gnawing on things. They weren't actually,
I
uh,
think those are the things that people base these movies on, right?
oh
Like
yeah,
Redneck Zombies is obviously a, love letter to like the Romero movies or I was wondering if maybe a little bit of Return of the Living Dead, even though they don't ever say like brains or anything, it felt like there was a little nod to that at times.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I'm not
yeah,
sure when
no,
this was made exactly. Like I know it's put
87.
out I know it was put out in 87. I don't know if it was made before then and then finally out by then.
Yeah.
But
But
The other movie that I think tackles zombies and parody in a much more fun, better way, in my opinion, is the movie we did before, which is Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. That I think was a movie that was done very, very skillfully and was a lot more fun. But that's because the characters are so arch and so weird and so freaky. It just seems like a lot more thought was put into them.
yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, this had very much like Matt was saying when he was describing all the people at the camp. They all seem like the cliche that kind of character, the bitchy character, right? All these different cliches. The guy who I guess was the supposed to be the leader or whatever was like the guy. I forgot his name too, but he's like the guy who supposed to have
Bruce,
known where
something.
he was. Was his Bruce?
I,
Something like that.
and yeah, the guy knew that the moonshiners were out there and all that, but he was too busy being sleazy. And the thing is, though, they did miss one of the best archetypes, which is the slut. There was no slut in the movie. How can you have a horror film without a slut in it? Come on.
Probably
Come
because the
on.
slut usually takes their clothes off, and she couldn't find someone who's willing to do that.
Yeah, yeah, we got treated to that weird scene with those two guys watching, I guess, a
I
porno
like
with,
boobs.
yeah, with the goofiest music and the ugliest, weirdest looking boobs. I'm not even convinced that was a woman. I'm sure I
I
thought
thought
maybe
it
it
was a
was a
man at
dude.
first. I thought that was the
Yeah,
joke.
that
Uh,
was
I thought that
probably
was
the
a
worst
joke.
part of the film. That's the part
oh,
where I needed 37 showers.
That part
oh,
and the other part where the guy, I think it was Ellie Mae, was delivering the booze and comes in and sees some girl being kind of raped
oh my
at that
God.
time.
I totally forgotten about that. Oh my, that scene. I was like, I mean.
That went on for
37
way
showers.
that went on for way too long.
And
And
how
I was like, why is he still standing there? Like
oh oh
I would have been
oh
like,
my
hey, I don't need your
God.
money, bye, and like taken off because like you just saw
Yeah,
something you weren't supposed to
we're
witness,
we're
you
kind
know.
of wallowing in it at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and $5, that's all. $5. He was waiting around for $5 fucking.
Just get out of there, dude. Yeah,
I
you
mean,
collect the
a
money later
whole
if you need to, but you don't
ah,
stay there with that girl who's telling you to help her when you obviously Ellie Mae wasn't going to be able to do
Now,
anything.
the big fat dude with the hat behind you, Jonathan, his character actually was one of the one that I actually liked a little bit at least. I wanted to see more of him. He was foul and disgusting and horrible, but he was interesting. And if there had been a little bit more of him in the film, I think that would have helped.
I think it was just enough. And him is just like he sees the legs, just the fucking legs, and he's like, ooh, I mean, hot snot.
Yeah,
And
I
oh
don't
my
know.
God.
He was crazy,
Ugh.
and I did like him in the beginning where he was talking to the soldier guy, but like he pulls out his gun. I'm like, dude, you're pulling a gun out on a soldier, like the soldier has a gun, like why is
Well,
that
he
guy like?
didn't.
Well, he didn't, did he? Did
No.
he?
Oh, he did
No.
not. He had the gun later, and then oh
Yeah,
God, the
yeah.
gay guy that he was with to go find that.
Oh God, yes. Oh, I
My
forgot about
God.
that guy.
Oh my God. I mean, this movie is just.
Yeah,
I mean.
I,
Let's not forget the officer who's like screeching at him the entire time.
Oh yeah, and
yeah,
he keeps bugging for the camera. Holy,
He actually
yeah,
breaks the fourth wall.
yeah,
yeah,
Jiminy Christmas.
yeah. It was crazy.
But
You
Fat Guy
know,
does get corn cobbed at the end, so, spoiler alert there for that.
yeah. Well, I mean, not that I cared. Uh,
I
you
think
know,
most of the people died in this movie, like
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Nobody.
not enough. All of them should have died. I think they should have done like at the end of the second Resident Evil movie, just nuke the whole thing from sight, just to
Yeah,
be certain. Let's
just to
face
be
it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
Well, plus it's that stereotype that always bothers the hell out of me is, radiation or poison or whatever it is kills you, but somehow it makes you stronger. And it's like, oh well, why don't I just die and so I can come back and be super strong now?
yeah. Well, I don't think it works that way.
No.
You know.
I would have been happier if that had been a thing of PCP, a zombie PCP, or, of course, back then they didn't have it, but now
Blood Marsh Crackoon, where the raccoons get a hold of some bad crack and go crazy. Makes
right,
sense.
right, right. Or, hell, going a little bit on a tangent here. Um, there is a video which you guys really should check out. It was put out by the Department of the Navy about using bath salts.
Oh
And
yeah.
and it takes like the first couple minutes of it, it's like what it's supposed to be like on bath salts.
Hmm.
Um, and that if that had been a drum full of bath salts, I think I probably would have been able to suspend my disbelief a little bit easier. But of course that didn't exist
Back
in
then, yeah.
1980s. Everything was radiation.
Already.
Radiation was always
Because
culprit.
nobody knew anything about it, so it was an easy thing to just slap on there, and lazy too, frankly.
Also, this is very much trauma. So, like, toxic
Toxic
waste and,
Avenger.
toxic avenger. Like, I think that's another reason I picked that specific
Toxic
thing.
Avenger is a lot more fun too.
Uh, Toxic Avenger is more silly and has a lot more comedy in it. That actually, I think the problem with this movie was a bunch of friends. They knew they worked for Troma, so they could do special effects for their own movie. They went out and they made a movie, and it had a lot of really cool special effects. But aside from that, they didn't have the trauma stamp of approval,
And
kind of
I
thing.
read that they shot it over the course of a year, like a weekend at a time. So like every weekend they would get together and do a little
Oh,
bit more and a little bit more.
I've
You
done
know.
that. I've done that, and I did that. I did worked on a movie for a year, and yeah, it definitely it happens. Yeah, especially when you got to get your people together and all that. And
Scheduling is a bitch,
right,
so
right,
And
and
you
then
you got to
that's
figure too, guys, somewhere along the line, like if you're into this movie 6 months by now, doing it every weekend, even if you see that it's crap, you kind of sort of got to keep going at this point, don't you? I mean, you're
yes,
not going to just walk away after spending all that time and energy and money, right? So you're kind of trapped. That's why I say, please, from the very beginning, have a good script.
yeah.
yeah.
And I agree completely. I've worked on films that took a while. Hell, even a couple of my films took a while. One because we needed the weather to change. So sometimes you have to, but and we filmed on weekends and did a couple weekdays here and there. So it is scheduling, it's cost, it's money. We had to get money and be able to finish up filming and stuff like that. So again, I applaud the spirit behind which this movie was made. But I definitely can still say the results were not worth it. But again, credit where it's due. The visual effects were great, the special effects were great. Um, and they completed it. I mean,
Some movies haven't like we're still finishing up Scary Stories Slumber Party Volume 2. I
Yeah.
mean, it takes sometimes it takes a lot longer than you planned and
yeah.
everything and
Oh yeah.
whatnot. So the fact that they did complete something, it's an hour and a half long, like it's not like 45 minutes. It's an actual, real movie, that they went out and made. I mean, awesome, like
And can I just throw it out there that even Chris Seaver made a better version of this with inbred redneck zombies. It was a lot more
but
fun.
I bet he was a fan of this movie,
I'm sure he was,
and
Oh,
stuff, especially it's a trauma movie,
but it was more
so
fun.
well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, and this would have been a great the perfect kind of film when we used to use these kind of films as an initiation into an older company that I used to have that you had to watch one of these films all the way through and
Nice.
be able to riff through it for you to be able to be a part of the writing staff. So uh
That's
so
easy
you
for me
know,
and Jonathan.
there you go. So you gotta have fun with it if you can. I mean, some of these I've had fun with, even though they were bloody awful. They were fun. This one, unfortunately, I can't say I had a lot of fun with. I was so just repulsed and disgusted by so many things. Uh,
37 showers. That's what I always
yeah,
say.
it was just if you can't have, I mean, I get it. Some people will watch this and they have the blast and great.
Yeah.
I love you, and I love people like that. But for me, uh, and I'll admit I'm a bit of a snob. Okay, so I'm not gonna front here, but yeah, I did not have fun with this movie at all.
Yeah.
I
Kind of,
will say one other thing in its favor in that it did not exactly commit this cardinal sin of movie making, which is to be boring. I did.
No,
I didn't want to just like fall asleep. I was hating it so much that it kept me up and it kept me engaged. But the movie did keep me going, and it was. We've seen much more boring films
I know,
than
and
this.
it's funny you guys are like, I hate this movie. I enjoyed it. I don't know. I am one of those weirdos. I had a fun time, from start to finish. The only reason I had to take breaks was because I had a house full of people around, and so people kept coming in and kept, especially kids kept coming in, and I had to kind of turn it off because didn't
Oh,
know
but
what was gonna,
why?
I don't
no,
know.
no.
There
Kids should
might
not
some.
be allowed to watch this. That would be Child Protective Services would come if anybody were
Yes.
let you
So
watch it.
even though my niece was like, "Oh, you think I'm like, no, They don't want
I
you
Oh,
don't
come
want to
on.
watch them.
Beelzebub makes far worse, more disgusting
That's
films.
true. And we did one of his already, so
There's more coming.
I know, I'm sure. Sorry, well, we are at that time, everybody. That we're gonna rate this movie. Unless anybody have anything else, it seemed like everybody's wrapped up on what they wanted to say about this movie. Is there anything else you guys needed to touch up on?
I did want to mention I saw the boom mic a couple of times. I saw the lens cap a couple of times. There was a little bit of sloppy stuff going on too.
Right, right, right. And you know what? I take that into accountability when I watch it as well. So I know, but like for me, even though I still love the movie, it's still it's still a stinky movie. Like there's no doubt about that. I don't even think the people who made it would disagree with that. But I think their hearts are in the right place, when they were making it originally, Now I think they would change their tune on doing a few of the stereotypes that they did or
God,
things.
I hope so.
I would hope so too. All right, so we're going to talk about the rating system. So the rating system we have is called a stinkometer. It is a 1 to 10 scale, one being very, very good with no mistakes and no issues. And we've had a few of those. I mean, usually, I think we've only had 1.5 though. I don't think we
Yeah, I think Blue Ruin got a 1.5 from me, I know at least.
I think Arcade may have gotten a 1 from Dustin, but like
Yeah, I think
Dustin,
so.
yeah, Dustin loves that movie so much. He would have rated that a 0 if he could have, but
Arcade, the full moon one.
Yep.
yeah. Our
Oh
friend
yeah,
That's his favorite movie of all. My friend Dustin's favorite movie, so we did it and we had Paul do it from I was in LA, so we had Paul do it from Virginia.
Peter
And
Billingsley.
yeah, it was
yep,
great. It was a
yep.
great movie.
And
Seth Green
Megan Ward.
and
Yeah,
Megan
Ah,
Ward.
Megan Ward.
Seth Green. I mean, it was a great cast
Yep.
in
yeah.
that
No,
movie.
I have a copy of it.
It's coming out to Blu-ray in July.
I know. I was so because I was at the full moon table they had where I was at a convention, creature feature in Gettysburg, and they didn't have it out yet on Blu-ray, and I was so sad because I picked up Trancers 2, and a couple other of their full moon
We
films.
should go to that con, Moody.
We
Yeah.
gotta go. So I met him, the Charles Band and company I met him before at a road show. He used to do a Full Moon Road Show, but I before
Ah, Robin
but
Sidney.
but I did get to hang out with Charles Band and Robin and all these other people that were hanging out there and everything. It was so awesome at Texas Frightmare. So they travel to different places, and I'm sure you saw Charles. I mean, I'm sure he's always at every full moon table, right?
Well, I did see him. Unfortunately, I was talking to Jim Crut, the helicopter zombie.
Yeah.
Uh, who has produced a couple of my films. And so we were talking, and then by the time I got over to the table, he had like came in, did a little bit of stuff for like half an hour, and then he was gone again. And then my time was limited because I had to get back home and
Yeah.
do some stuff, so I didn't get to see it. But anyways, no, we went off on a tangent here, but yeah.
Well, trust me, we do that a lot. So
We do that a lot.
you're not new at that. So yeah, we love that. We will probably we got so many conventions we gotta go to. We still gotta go to Cinema Wasteland. We gotta go to I want to go down to Spooky Empire in Orlando, but I think I'll do that without Paul because he hates to go down there. He doesn't want to
Hate
go hang out.
Florida, hate flying.
Yeah. I would drive down there if we could, like rent a car and drive down, but whatever.
Ugh.
We'll figure it out. So yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of conventions that we just haven't gotten a chance to go to yet. So, but given that the score, so 1 and then 10 is really, really stinky. And we could do a 0.5 if you feel like you can't decide between 4.5 or 4 or 5, you do 4.5, that kind of thing. And so I'm gonna let Paul go first.
Ah, okay. Well, clearly I did not like the movie. Originally, I hated the movie. I don't quite hate it as much this time around. Like I said, I found things that I thought were okay. And sad thing to say, Matthew, we have seen worse movies than this.
Me too.
The last one we just did this weekend is a perfect example of that. As a matter of fact, Moody, I actually went to Just Jen and gave her a cupcake as a way of saying I'm sorry because she really hated that film.
She called him
Um,
an asshole.
she did.
She's never done that. This is one of our
Never.
first people that we ever worked with on the show.
She
Like she
did
was
say
our
she didn't mean it, but still.
oh, I think at the time she did mean it. I mean, she was pissed at you, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we thought she was gonna hit him originally, but no, instead she's just like, "You're just an
She knew it was
asshole."
going to be bad. She had no idea how bad it was going to be. But this is not that.
No.
So I'm going to go ahead and give this an 8.5. Bad,
Okay.
but
That's a
we've seen
fair.
worse.
That's fair. What about you, Matt? What do you think?
uh, on originally, I was going to give it a 10,
Yeah, you
but
really did not like it. Yeah.
because of the fact that the visual effects, the practical effects, that it is a one of the first films shot on video to be nationwide distributed, and the fact that Vinegar Syndrome's DeGosser video imprint actually released a special edition
Hmm.
of this film because of its historical value. I will give it a 9,
Okay.
but only for those reasons. The visuals, the visual effects, not the visuals, the visual effects, the practical effects, the its place in movie history, and that Vinegar Syndrome, which is one of the best distributors of horror and cult films, actually took the time to do a really good version of it, which I will now buy. I mean, I would
I
never
will.
spend money on it, but for those who do love it, it's out there. I don't know if it's out of print yet or not, but yeah, so I'll give it a 9.
Moody will pick it up on its Criterion release.
Yeah. There used to be a podcast called Shitarian. Like, and it was all the bad movies. It was what we did, except it was, but actually it was more like popular movies that were bad. Like, Super Mario Brothers and stuff that we don't do. Stuff I do for Hollywood Knockbusters. But anyway, so it was tough. Maybe my original thought was lower, because I liked it. I really did. I enjoyed it. But listening to you guys, especially listening to Paul talk about how there were problems with like the boom mic being shown and some other issues and stuff, I'm gonna have to go higher than my plan was. My original plan was, I think, 6. I think I'm gonna go with an 8 right now, which I think still is kind of low for me anyway, like on that, because we watch a lot of bad movies. Like this is actually on tier of like a better one of the worst movies that we've done. And trust me, if you've seen some of the ones we've done, seen stuff like Alien Beasts or what was the Reflections of Evil? Some of these movies are just so bad you would turn it off unless you had to review it. Like
Hip
you
Hop
just
Locos.
Hip Hop Locos you would never watch. No, because after like 5 minutes of it, you're just like, after 5 minutes of that movie, Paul said, "This is the whole movie," and I go, "What?" And I got scared, and it almost was. It almost felt like it was the whole
Yeah.
movie was the same thing over and over again. It was just awful. And that well, I have a friend named Daryl Hook. I don't know if you know him, Matt, or not, or know of him, but he is making like the worst movie, he says, right? Like he's planning to make the worst movie. It's called Sto- Stoner Snake, like with a bunch of S's in front of it.
Oh yes, I do. I do know actually a couple people I know are involved in that project.
Yeah.
So yes, I am familiar with it.
Yeah. And so he loves these kind of movies. I was trying to get him on the show, and unfortunately it didn't happen. It was going to be with Amanda Megan, your friend Amanda.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
directed one of my films, Anna Key.
Yeah.
So
We've
and
had
she,
her on the show. And
yeah,
I was gonna have him and her, and I love her, like I adore her. She's great.
yes,
So
yeah.
just like you were saying before, Jordan Hunley, we've had her on the show. We've had Shanna Atkins on the show that you're friends with. So we've had a lot of the Maryland slash PA slash that group of people.
We call ourselves the DMV.
Yes,
The
perfect.
DMV.
Yeah. But I love it. I love that group of people, and you guys all doing excellent work out there. Us from Virginia, we love that people like close to us are making these movies, and whatnot. And so, but yeah, I we've reviewed these kind of films, and some of them are great, some of them are pretty bad, and Daryl loves them. Loves. So I don't even know if I really want him on the show because he'll probably say it's bad, when it's bad. Like he knows that Axum
Pirates
is
of
terrible.
Zanzibar.
The Empires of Zanzibar
Vampires of Zanzibar. Yeah.
was done in was it done in I think Roanoke or something, ish
Yeah, yeah,
area.
further south from where we are.
Charles
Yeah.
Uh,
B. Kellen,
Yeah. We've had some Virginia
John
people.
Johnson. We've done a lot of Virginia movies.
oh yeah, oh yeah. A lot of people don't realize there is a very prolific film community in this area, and it's mostly because we're not New York, we're not Atlanta. That's where the major hubs are. But between those two, there is no DC does not have a film industry. It
No, it's too
has
expensive.
Right. It's mostly they'll come in, they'll film them, and then they'll leave. They won't
Right.
ever. There's nobody. I mean, so the DMV and West Virginia and Pennsylvania, which the tri-state, then we're moving into what is called the tri-state or four-state, which is Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. Um, there is a huge film community out this way. And, I'm very fortunate to be part of it. Um, and Amanda and Shannon and Jordan and probably quite a few other people that you've worked
Fuzzy
with.
Monkeys. Those guys
Yeah,
too.
Fuzzy Monkey, yeah, Brad Twigg, and his team. There's
Oh yeah, there's also God, Dave Kerr and his
yep,
team of people. So
yep, you got
like there's
Slasher.
so yeah, Slasher Nurse and all those people. Like I mean
Zombie
look at
Isle.
my friend Robert Elkins does stuff down, in Richmond, so there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
are out there doing this stuff. Uh
We
I
need
love
we
it.
need a DMV convention. We need like our own con. That'd be great.
Well,
Well,
it kind of we kind of have it with Creature Feature, but not really. I agree. There needs to be a DMV specific, just specific, and there's some little mini cons that that pop up here and there, but not a really big concerted effort. My he calls himself my consigliere, Tom Toohey, has said that is an idea that nobody has really tapped into, is creating a DMV indie film um, festival slash convention.
And I
And
think Maryland would be perfect because it's kind of right
yeah,
in the middle.
well,
yeah.
why hasn't Matt Burns done this yet? Like I don't I like
Well,
he's
Matt Burns has tried. He's got done a couple little things. There's Bone Johnson, but these kind of things require a lot of time, a lot of money, a location, so I know Matt has tried, a couple of other people have tried.
I went to one of his conventions, Halloween Fest, I think it was, back in the day. And he did it up in like I think it was past Charlottesville. It was in the I want to say it was like Roanoke area or something like that,
Yeah.
Fredericksburg or something,
I
area.
Yeah, I don't know that
We
one.
we
There's maybe
had a couple. We had Blood on the Beach and we had Scares the Care, but they're both gone now.
Oh no, Scares the Carrots is still very much maybe not in the way that it was, but they're very much there. Daniel Brooks and his wife, who worked with Brad over at Fuzzy Monkey, he actually worked on one of my films, Heavy Duty Man. They were there at Creature Feature up at Gettysburg, doing Scares that Care. So
Oh,
uh,
cool.
And then there's like Gross Fest.
Gross
That
Fest we've been wanting to go to,
yeah.
but we'll see if we go to it this year or not. But it's just money wise and other stuff.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
I'd love to go to one that's, in our area specifically. I have less interest in going to California or Florida or, places that are too far away. I'd prefer to stick around locally, and because I would love to collaborate with some of the local folks, and you never know. Maybe people can get together and do some work together. You never know.
yeah, I mean, Paul and I went to like Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky and stuff. And as cool as that was to travel over there, we're just like that was like 9 hour drive to drive out
Mhm.
Yeah.
there and everything. And if we went to like Pennsylvania, like I went it was Gettysburg or something. There used to be one actually run by I think the people who ended up running Scares That Care ran one of the conventions up in Gettysburg. My brain is like is a
It's not Joe
horror or
Ripple.
something. No, no, Joe didn't. Joe took it, and worked with those people. But a lot of those people actually worked on it was a horror convention up there. Chris Harkins brought me up there, and I was like, it's horrifying weekend, and it was really cool. My favorite part was leaving the convention and going to the historical sites of Gettysburg and seeing all that stuff. Like if you're gonna like my friends are like, hey, do you want to go check out the battlefields? And I was like, yeah, like I'm here, might as well. And so we just drove around and looked at the battlefields and stuff, then went back. And to
Right.
me, that's cool. I'm sure when people come to Williamsburg, where I live, they go to Colonial Williamsburg, and check that stuff out when
Don't
they're
forget Fort Monroe.
Fort Monroe. So, I mean, you can go all these different places. We've had Tidewater Horror Convention, and that just doesn't have the same feel, or whatever that a lot of these, like Blood on the Beach had or Scares That Care Weekend had,
It's just smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of smaller ones, and like I said, it's cost time, it costs money. It's very tough to get something like that. So I agree. We do need a really good DMV independent film. I get every single independent film going because there are so many out here. That I mean, I know quite a few of them. I know all the folks over at a bunch of the folks at Fuzzy Monkey, I should say. No, I don't know them all, but I know a bunch of them. There's Amanda Megan's new company, Dancing Demons. There's Slasher 15,
Yep,
uh,
those are the guys who
New
do
Year's.
Slasher Nurse, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Mike McGlynn is one of my buddies, and he
He's
was,
one of our buddies too. He's been on the show and he hosts Horror Film Lovers with me. So he does, we haven't done it in a while because I've been kind of in a funk, so I haven't really
um,
been and plus he's been busy. He's always busy with stuff
oh
with
well,
him.
yeah. I mean, they're Slasher Nurse is done, and they're working on Bloody Summer Camp 2 with Jordan Hunley's in
I'm
it,
so excited.
and
I can't wait for that.
so and then there's Matt Burns's Small Town Horrors, and there's I mean, I know I'm forgetting a whole
I
crap.
auditioned for Bloody Summer Camp 2, by the way. I believe I did. And then my friend Jason Cook got the part that I went out for.
Ah,
And
damn.
I was not mad about that. I was
Yeah, we
actually
love
really
Jason.
happy.
He's
L-
very cool.
he's an actual professional actor. So to be beat by I would have been more mad had I been beat by somebody who just started acting and did a better job than I did or whatever, than me. But no, I was very happy. I love those guys, and you know what? They're all good people. Dave's a good guy, and freaking Michael is just sweet as hell. So we all love him.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's, I love the members of the community out here. I am friends with a lot of them. I've worked with quite a few of them, like Shonda Rawlings, and
Love her.
might work with Mike on
We should be getting Matthew here on our spotlight show. You know,
Yeah, if Matt, if you ever want to come on Spotlight and chat about all the stuff you're doing and everything, feel
sure.
free.
Yeah. Just tell me when. I'll be
All
there.
right. All right, sure. Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up. We've been going over a
Oh,
lot over an hour, and time has flown.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I love it.
This has been a blast. I
Thank you.
absolutely love this. I love Jordan watching Jordan, and so I'm very glad to been a part on this show. And yeah, I'd love to be on your spotlight show. I'd love to do another one of these. And
Yes, we'll definitely. Well, Paul will
Yay.
have to find one for you next time.
Oh,
He
I'll
likes to
find a
do
good
that.
one.
It
looking
will.
forward to it.
It won't be Splatter Farm. I'm pretty sure he'll try to
Nah,
take it easy on since we already know your feelings on that.
Well, plus I already reviewed it, so I'd rather not. I'd rather review something I've never seen before. And so Axum, definitely don't want to do Axum because I've seen that one too.
it's all right.
We
I got a bottomless pit of movies to pull out.
Oh,
Moody
excellent.
knows this.
Yeah, way too much. In fact, he gets mad at me because sometimes I'll bring stuff up and that like Axum. I was like, I want to do Axum. He's like, well, it's on my list. And I'm like, but your list is too fucking long.
It is long.
And you're not gonna get to it for like another 5 seasons or something. And so like let me do it now so
We
we can
still
get it
got
over with.
5 more Carl J. Suckenik movies to do.
Yeah, you haven't. I don't think you had the pleasure of any of his movies. So maybe one day we'll treat you to that. So you can see what a real bad movie is. Or a David the Rock Nelson movie. Oh
Yes.
my God. Anytime you see those guys, like you're in
Conrad
for
Brooks.
something. Yes. Yeah, we've never done a
We're
Conrad Brooks
doing a
directed
Django
movie.
movie
Oh, yes. All
on
right.
the list.
All right. Uh,
Actually, just real quick with Conrad Brooks, I actually have a photo at the premiere of I think it was one of my films. If not, it was one of the others. And Conrad Brooks photobomb me.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, I
I
love.
will, you love having that now, right? As a
That's
thing.
awesome.
I was interviewing Michael Berryman once, and I was outside as like out in the lobby with him, and he was like, "Hey, Kane Hodder, right, or whatever, right?" So we're just continuing to chit chat about stuff. Kane Hodder video bombed us while we were doing the video and stuff. It just kind of pokes his head out there, like looks in, and then walks away. And I kind of knew he was behind me, but I was kind of laughing, but I didn't let it stop the interview, and Michael did not know whatsoever. You could tell he had no idea that Kane was behind us at all. Checking out. It's the
You know
greatest.
what? Tell you the truth, it wasn't Conrad Brooks. It was George Stover. Sorry.
Still,
Okay.
both are classic actors, B movie actors. We still haven't done a Joe Ripple movie that he's directed. We need to review one of his. You know, Joe Ripple, who does Scares I Care, has
Yep.
made some movies himself.
Yep. I got a couple of
I
them.
do too.
We
So
just haven't done one yet.
yeah, I'm always afraid to because we're friends with
Yeah.
the people. Like I'm always
Yeah.
afraid. Like even this one, I'm like, oh no, Ed's gonna. I hope Ed just like looks at me and goes, well, I just don't like Paul. You know, like
Well, you're
sometimes
probably
it.
not. He's probably not going
What?
to be a fan of mine after hearing me.
But I think I'm pretty sure he's heard worse. Like you
Who's
know.
the dude from Florida that hates us now?
Oh man, Joel Wynkoop is now.
Joel Wynkoop.
I don't know if you know that name, but he's a Florida guy, and we did one of his movies called Lost Faith. I had a fun time watching it, but I mean, you're gonna have to be honest and say when something's bad, like you can't be like, "Oh, that was a great
And
movie," because
we
I know
don't
the guy
just
who made
say,
it.
"Oh, this sucks." We come up with real reasons why we feel the way we feel. You know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I have a standing policy if it's a movie that I've worked on or that I'm friends with it like Matt Burns he works with Mark Byrne and Absurd Production Pictures and when we were doing Terribly Awful he asked a couple times, hey, would you like to do this, and we're like, no,
uh,
no, we're
yeah,
not going to review movies that we are so good friends with the people involved.
well, there's
It
two reasons why that's a bad idea. One thing is you could be biased, period, right?
right, right, right.
So if you do give a good review, it might seem like you're doing it because you're friends with the
Yeah,
person.
we've backed off a couple of films that we were a little too close to.
Well, one you still want to do, and I'm like, I don't know, but you're gonna do it on your own.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not part of that. But like that's the thing. Like I'm very particular about that because I know how harsh we can be. My mom's even told me that before she passed away. She was like, yeah, she listened to one of my podcasts and said, "You guys are mean."
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
like, we don't. I mean, it was The Last Vampire. That movie is just awful. So I mean,
Blood the Last Vampire?
it's just called The Last
Oh, Last
Vampire.
Vampire. Oh, okay. Because
Yeah,
there's Blood the Last Vampire, and then there was one. But yeah, I've been told that especially in the last season of Terribly Awful, I got told I was being really mean
yeah,
and nasty. So that's why I kind of like stopped. Yeah, well, I mean, the show ended, and then the person who had the show, he took the show with him. Um, that's why I kind of stopped being so mean, because yeah, I was basically I was going from just pointing out the issues to just yeah, being real
yeah.
asshole,
I
real
understand.
asshole.
There was a time like that for myself as well, and I try to point out some of the good things as well. I make an
Yeah,
effort to do that to balance it a little bit, even when there's not much good there. I try to find a little bit, you
yeah.
know.
yeah, 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 and I think that's the best way. You can be honest. You can say, you know, Redneck Zombies is not on the stinkometer, but as you pointed out, there are some good aspects to it, and its place in history. You can't, as much as I didn't like it, and yes, it has not aged well. It still, does have I do still have some respect for it and everything behind it, even though I will never ever watch this movie again.
There
I mean, fair enough.
you go.
But yeah, so I hope everybody understands. I'm going to say this last and then we'll probably wrap it up, but we had a person who sent us their movie. I'm not going to say who it was or whatever and what the movie was, but he sent us the movie. He gave us like posters, he gave us all the swag. I think he was just kind of buttering us up for a good review. And then all we said pretty much was that it wasn't our cup of tea. Like we didn't say it was a bad movie. We said it, and it wasn't really bad. It was well done. It was just gruesome and nasty and
Mean
like
spirited.
mean spirited and stuff that just wasn't our cup of tea.
And I
Like
didn't
we,
particularly like it, but
yeah, you didn't particularly like, but you weren't mean about it,
I don't think
and
so.
everything. I don't think so. And then the guy blocked us from Facebook for a little while. Like, and then he unblocked me, but and friended me again, but he kept blocked on Paul, I think.
Oh,
But he
And
knew me
I'm in a
personally.
little different position because you guys are part of the indie film community. I'm just tangentially involved. I have a whole other different career going on. So
Yeah,
this is my side gig.
he works at Fort Monroe, so like he's got a real like career going. That's he's an archaeologist, so that's his real career, and stuff. He does this because he loves B movies and talking about it and
Because I've
stuff.
been
And
watching them since I was a tiny little calf.
yeah,
yeah.
so
I mean, I have a my career as well, and I've actually been in that position where I had a person ask to review their movie. We reviewed it. We just hated it so much. And I warned this guy, and I said, "Look, if we don't like it, we're gonna say so." And he said, "Oh, I'll be okay with it." Well, I don't know if he ever was. Um, Never heard from him again. But that's okay. Hey, I'm sure people hate some of my movies. Um,
You
you
got to
know,
be a thick-skinned person in this business. I
yep,
mean, come
yep,
on.
you gotta
um,
have it.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. I actually kind of look at because I did my first movie, Scary Story Slumber Party, is available for people to see, right? It's like on YouTube from Kings of Horror and all these different places. The Plex TV has it, so like people can watch it. And I have seen some pretty mean reviews, people negative and everything. And you know what? Some of the stuff I take in and I say, okay, that was good. That was good criticism, what they said. Some of the stuff they're just mean and they just say negative things. And those I just take as like, okay, well, they didn't like it, but at least they watched it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there you go. You
I
know.
haven't seen it yet on the sketchy Russian porn site, but I haven't looked in a while, so that's when you know you've made it, Moody.
Yeah, you said you find all the obscure shit on there, so
I don't know why, but for some reason they pop up. If I could
yeah.
just buy them outright, I would, but
That's where he
no.
gets them. Downloads them from the sketchy Russian. He doesn't even look for porn on the sketchy Russian porn site. Just you
No.
know,
I
just
want
bad
sticky
movies.
movies. That's what I want.
Well, that's why I go to the Internet Archive
Yep,
because
that's a good place.
that's a horror film that I was looking for years called Jenny, um, which I couldn't find anywhere. It's not available on print.
You do have to be careful though, because I found out that they some of the movies are edited, so you're not
Not
getting
this
the
one.
full thing.
Not this one. It was the full on film. But yes, you're right. But yeah, and some people out there, are just trolls out there. I mean, the Resident Evil documentary has gotten some pretty, rough reviews. Then the thing is, though, you got to have a thick skin, and if the criticism's valid, okay. You know when the criticism's valid, and you know when somebody's just being an asshole
Right.
and
Yeah.
just trying to just basically, that's what they live for, is just to see people do it. And you just got to just sit there and go, you know what? I'm proud of the project. I stand behind the project. Yeah, the criticism may be valid. Fine. Next one I do, I'm going to fix it. And that's the way I look at it. If it's valid and I'm honest with myself, I take it. If it's not, I just let it roll off my back. And it nobody likes being criticized, but
Mm.
you just do have to have that thick skin. And I got elephant skin.
Well, that's like was it in the movie Ed Wood where he's on the phone with the studio guy and he's like, so are we gonna do business? Worst movie you ever saw. Great. Well, my next one will be better. Hello? Hello, right? Because like, yeah, but yeah, the next movie and his next movie was better, but in my opinion, is I think was Bride of the Monster. So, I love that movie more than Glenn and Glinda, but I like Glenn and Glinda just for the,
Ah,
yeah,
I love Glenn and Glenda.
yeah, we haven't done that one yet. I think we're
We
supposed to
will.
save. We were gonna do that for like What the Fuck Friday or something, I thought, but we still haven't done that. We have different podcasts that we do and stuff, and
Too
we've
many
got
different
yeah,
podcasts.
too many. So, we've been taking a break from a lot of them too because we've just been burnt out from doing like a million things and stuff but that was also the reason how I got you on here is I kind of that was one of the things I was burnt out from like, people, and stuff. Like I would ask people to come on the show, then people would say yes, and then something would happen that was a real thing, or
We
somebody
actually got ChatGPT to come on the show at one point because we didn't couldn't find a living human being.
Oh,
yes.
well, I am 99% of the time available. Wednesdays are really the only days, but since you guys don't do the show until 9 p.m. Eastern, that's perfect for me because I'm generally working on movie stuff. Matter of fact, I was working on movie stuff 5 minutes before I joined on here. So if you ever really get short and it's your choice between Matt Anderson and Chat GPT, let me know, and I should be able to pop on and but at least give me some warning. At least give me like let me know at like 6 o'clock. So if it's a movie I gotta watch, I can watch it before I jump on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually it's like a Tubi thing. As long as it's on Tubi, that means we can all watch it.
Tubi or YouTube. Like if it's free that you can check it out on a site or something, and Roku or whatever, we will send it to you. So,
Perfect.
but thank you so much, Matt, and we'll definitely have you back. Like I said,
Yay, it was great meeting you, buddy.
I like I
Same.
said, Paul's turn next. He always likes if I do it first, he likes to have Yeah, it's not like nice to have the next go around.
We're different in our choices, a little bit different.
I let him sometimes have one particular person or something like maybe Jackie that he likes because they have to he knows exactly what she wants, but my friend Jackie Hall. But aside from that, I we'll typically switch off from people and stuff like that. So but it's wonderful having you on and welcome welcome to the Indie Film Cafe family. And everybody else, thank you guys for joining us. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be Paul's turn next, for the next thing. We do this like months in advance, so we have no idea exactly when.
He's the scheduler.
I'm
I
the
just show
scheduler, so
up.
I know it's sometime. I think it's not coming out till like July. So just so you know, like it's
Oh,
gonna
this
be
episode?
yeah, this episode. Yeah,
Okay,
we do
no
it
problem.
way in advance so that we don't like we're not like stretching to run to find get something. We want things in advance. So but
Yeah,
anyway, thank you
but
so much. And everybody who listened, hope you guys enjoyed this. What is, I guess, if you guys are interested in telling us, what is the worst movie you've ever seen? And what would be your recommendation? We're gonna have to find out from you, Matt, after this, what was the movie that you watched that the guy like unfriended you over, or whatever your review, because I know you don't want to say it publicly, but we can't wait to hear that on the because we love hearing that stuff, so we can start putting it on our list, and everything. All right, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.